Right now at 6, what new video reveals about the training and actions of federal agents as a hearing over the use of tear gas at Portland's ICE facility comes to a close? Plus,
the one thing you might wonder is, where do they perceive each defendant? Are they more foot soldiers?
A possible turn in a federal gambling investigation and why it could allow Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups to avoid a trial. Then meet the small business owner betting on Portland and the new city plan aiming to support him.
It's like if we leave Portland, it just feels like we're abandoning where we started.
And later, where a bill to secure the Blazers' future in the Rose City stands, and the key conditions that must be met to transform Moda.
The Blazer organization's already here, and the fastest way to economic development is to keep what you have.
But first, to our top story tonight. Should federal agents be able to use tear gas and other less lethal munitions on protesters outside Portland's ICE building? That is the question before a federal judge after a 3-day hearing. Investigative reporter Kyle Laboshi here in studio with us. Kyle, I know you've been in the courtroom all week, so what's the latest on this?
Well, both sides wrapped up closing arguments late this afternoon after 3 days of testimony, including independent journalists, a couple in their 80s, and the man known as the Portland Chicken. No cameras were allowed in the courtroom. For the first time, we're seeing body cam footage and hearing from the federal officers protecting Portland's ICE building through videotaped depositions, their faces obscured by the court for safety reasons. Lawyers representing protesters argue the federal agents used excessive force, violating protesters' protected speech. They point to January 19th, when officers appeared to violate their own policies by pepper spraying nonviolent protesters outside the facility.
Did you see anybody engage in violence in this video?
I did not see any violence in this video.
Did you see protesters engaged in passive resistance in this feed?
Yes.
And would that include the protesters you sprayed with pepper spray?
Yes.
Protesters' attorneys also questioned federal officers about their training.
Can you recall, in general, the type of training you received with respect to First Amendment rights of protesters?
No.
Judge Michael Simon has already temporarily limited the use of chemical munitions by federal officers at the ICE facility. Now, protesters, including Jack Dickinson, also known as the Portland Chicken, are asking him to extend those restrictions by issuing a preliminary injunction.
I just fundamentally refuse to believe that the only way you can keep a building like that operational is to gas a city over and over again.
Lawyers for the Department of Homeland Security argue officers are protecting the building, and sometimes the use of force was necessary. They claim tear gas and other munitions are important tools to prevent violence and keep officers safe. Federal lawyers did not call a single witness, instead relying on court filings and depositions. Judge Simon is expected to rule in the coming days. No matter the outcome, the case in all likelihood will be appealed, though.
Okay, so there were no cameras allowed in federal court. We know that, but you were also there in the courtroom. So take us inside. What was that like?
It really is unfortunate there weren't cameras in the courtroom because there was some compelling testimony. It'd be good for the general public to be able to see this. But I can tell you, in hearing from many witnesses, their stories were really impactful. Not only did they talk about the physical impact, but also the emotional toll of all this. A couple in their 80s really stole the show, Lori and Richard Ekman. They talked about being tear gassed, the long-term health impacts, even to this day for Lori Ekman, and how they're scared to go back down there as a result of all this.
Definitely some compelling stories, that's for sure. Appreciate your continued reporting on all this. Yeah. Thank you, Kyle. And a reminder, you can find all of our reporting on this hearing anytime online at KGW.com or on our free TV app, that is KGW+. Let's take a step outside for a moment for a live look from our Rose City sky cam. Gray out there, but you know, today we did see a little blue sky. Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino joining us now from the Weather Center. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Christine. Yeah, and of course the sun's going down, starting to get dark, but we'll get some breaks in the clouds. The Timberline, though, and the Cascades are getting snow, which is great to see. 26 degrees, 5 inches new. It's pretty windy up there, too. We had gusts of 66 miles an hour at the top of the Cascade Chair over in Mount Hood Meadows. Right now, Timberline gusting to 26. So again, we'll take all we can get because, as you're probably aware, our snowpack this season has not exactly been up to snuff. Each one of these bars represents the snowpack at Timberline Lodge on March 1st. And this goes back to 1975. all the way to the present. You can see we're down here now. Last year we were up there right about close to average here. So if you look at the years that were really below average, they're pretty few of them. There's really not that many. The last one was 2015 when we had snowpack that was even a little bit less than what we have right now. We're sitting at about 65 inches at Timberline at the moment, but we're better than we were a month ago, so we've made some progress and hopefully it'll continue to go on up. So yes, it has been a trying year for the mountains, but it is snowing now, which is great. We've got showers overnight tonight, more Cascade snow on the way tonight, tomorrow, and then potentially again even more next week. Christine will touch on that in a bit.
Sounds good. Thank you, Matt. To an update now, 4 months after the FBI charged Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups and dozens of others in a rigged poker game probe allegedly involving big names in the NBA and the mafia. Today, a federal judge finally set a trial date. Joe Ranieri joins us now in studio. Joe, some of the defendants were expected to take plea deals, right?
Exactly right. And more could be taking those plea deals over the next couple of days. According to court documents, Christine, the federal government was planning on extending plea deals to at least 12 people involved in this case. No word yet if Billups is one of those defendants. In court today, a judge is looking at next fall for a trial to be set, which could be November 2nd, for the more than 30 defendants in this case. Billups, as you remember, was arrested hours after the Blazers' home opener last October. The FBI alleges that Billups was involved in a rigged poker games that were run by New York mafia families. Well, those games involved electronic cheating devices, including X-ray equipment and automated card shuffling machines. I spoke with Lewis and Clark law professor Tung Yin about the case, who says prosecutors will look at what role some of these defendants allegedly had.
One thing you might wonder is, where do they perceive each defendant? Are they more foot soldiers, or even a marquee name may have a relatively minor role in the offense, alleged minor role?
Now, there could be more deals, like I said, in the coming days involving the other defendants in this case. Court documents didn't say if Billups is one of the 12 set to take a plea. A status hearing is scheduled for June 11th. Federal prosecutors say there could be even more defendants added. Now, I did reach out to Billups' attorney, but haven't heard back. Back to you.
We'll keep an eye out on any potential plea deals that come out. Thank you, Joe. In your headlines, a Vancouver man charged with killing a teenager while driving the wrong way in Clark County changed his plea to guilty this morning. 24-year-old Eric Moya hit and killed 18-year-old Miko O'Brien last May on SR 14 while driving drunk. 2 other teens were in the car and they were seriously injured. Court documents say Moya drove the wrong way on SR 14 for 10 miles and his blood alcohol was nearly 3 times the legal limit. Under a plea agreement, he will serve 10 years in prison, followed by probation. To a crash caught on camera in Southwest Washington, you can see the car there cross into oncoming traffic and slide down I-5 on its roof just outside of Centralia yesterday. Washington State Patrol says the 20-year-old driver was running from police when they hit the barrier and flipped, going over 100 miles per hour. 4 people went to the hospital, including a 14-month-old who was in the car but not buckled into a car seat. It's still unclear what prompted the chase. And a bill that would ban most law enforcement officers, including federal agents, from wearing masks in Washington is closer to becoming law. The bill passed in the House Tuesday night. Now it just needs to clear one more vote in a conference committee. Governor Bob Ferguson is expected to sign that bill. It includes some exemptions, including for religious reasons, undercover operations, and certain safety situations.
The mission is laser focused. Obliterate Iran's missiles and drones and facilities that produce them, annihilate its navy and critical security infrastructure, and sever their pathway to nuclear weapons.
That's Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth today detailing the ongoing operation in Iran. Hegseth praised an attack on an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean torpedoed by a U.S. submarine. 87 people on board died. The Department of Defense says the U.S. has sank 20 Iranian ships in this mission and will soon control Iran's airspace. This comes as the U.S. works to get Americans out of the Middle East before conflict escalates any further. That includes Rick Olson from Seattle. Olson was on a planned 3-day layover in Doha when on his way to Botswana, Africa. He says he's had to stay inside his hotel since Saturday and has heard explosions going off nearby. Olson is one of many Americans across 14 countries in the region urged to leave if they can.
Our State Department has told me repeatedly they will provide no further assistance than telling people to sign up for STEP, which is good because that lets state know who you are, where you are, and how to contact you. So that's good, but beyond that, the direction is to shelter in place, wait it out.
So much uncertainty. Officials say they're looking at several options to help travelers, including potential charter flights and even military aircraft.